We're doing it.
Do
Hey,
it.
we're doing it. Hey, we're live.
Do
Oh,
it.
Adam's back. Let's run the intro, people.
Let's-
This is 2OF Entertainment.
And welcome back to the show. The good news is Adam is here. He's right there. He disappeared and now he's back. There you go, everybody.
I'm
Adam
back.
is back after his
Hello,
long,
guys.
long holiday. Everyone
Yeah,
thought he didn't love us, but here he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's back to
not
talk
true.
about
I love
whatever.
everybody,
He was
guys.
in Poland trying to overthrow the government. That didn't work out, and now he's back in Greece. So there you go. So
Yeah, I was in Poland. I was a little in Germany. I was a little in
you visit the
Czech
Nazis.
Republic.
Nice. Sure. I remember the Czech
Oh, I
Republic.
don't know
Fuck
who's the
yeah.
Nazis now.
I know, right?
Hard to say.
I think we
Who
are.
are the Nazis now? Because we can't, uh, you know, keep thinking about the past only.
That's
We
true.
have to, because
And just to let you know, people are missing probably David and Vicky. I don't know if they're really missing them, but probably maybe they want to know where they are. So
they're missing
Vicky
them.
is having a sex change to become Victor. And David apparently went back on holiday to be rubbed down by naked Tahitian boys because they found some extra oil. So they should be with us next week, or
So they are
David may
working,
join later
so it's
today.
okay.
Yeah, David, see if we want to call that work. Lying around naked. There you go.
So what
So
what changed in the world? I didn't follow much the news and everything.
wow,
I
what
think it's
changed in
the
the
same
world?
shit, yeah, isn't
Is
it?
it just same shit, different day? Let's see what happened. Trump threatened the
Yeah,
EU with a 50% tariff on Friday, and
yeah,
then he
I
said,
heard that.
"Oh, we're going to wait until July 9th." I have no idea why. Russia just bombed the heck out of the Ukraine, and Trump just asked. I don't think. I think it was a rhetorical question: Is Putin stupid? So that was interesting. That happened over the weekend. What else happened over the weekend? The New York Knicks are in the NBA playoffs. They're not doing well, so they'll probably lose.
The
Yesterday was
EuroLeague
Formula
in
Monte
basketball, isn't
Carlo. Yeah, Monte Carlo at Formula One yesterday. It was great. Watched that race. It was exciting. I was on the edge of my chair, when I didn't fall asleep.
it? You
And
know that
that's
the
it.
European NBA, let's say
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
EuroLeague,
Yeah.
is often dominated by Greek teams.
That's
And
nice.
yeah, and there was a semi-final, and there
Yeah.
was the one Greek team, Olympiacos, my team,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was considered the best,
Yeah.
and the other team, the second best, that won last year the cup,
Right.
Panathinaikos. They were playing with the Monaco and Fenerbahce, so they were talking, oh, they are easy opponents, and the final will be Greek, but they both lost.
Nice. Wow.
That's how arrogance works. So
I can't.
don't be so
I just say
sure what
you can't be
happens.
You can't be
Never
arrogant.
underestimate any opponent when
No.
you play
There's
sports or any kind of
anything, even in war, you can't
yeah,
underestimate it. Like they're
yeah, yeah,
underestimating the
yeah, of
Ukrainians. The
course.
Ukrainians are going to probably kick their ass. So we'll see. What else is
Oh,
going on? Everything has been. It's been weird not having you on a Monday. It's like, oh, okay. So Monday's just now you're back. So the fans, Dawn will be watching the show as soon as the email alert goes out.
we're
Dawn's going to
back
see this. She'll
to
be like that.
normal.
We're back to normal, and Vicky should be back next week as Victor. So that'll be interesting to see how that went. And
Victor,
like I
oh,
said, yeah, she's getting a sex change. Yeah, that's what I said. So
Trump will not like it at
Trump,
all.
Trump doesn't like anything. So
Maybe
it's,
he will oppose this. Maybe
yeah.
he'll appear in the show after all.
We asked Donnie to
After
come on
so many, you've
all the
sent
time.
him so many invitations, right? And to
David
Elon.
has actually sent, according to David, I don't know because I didn't do it. David sent Donnie Trump's people invitations. He sent Kim Jong Il, Donald Trump, Putin, and there was somebody else. Oh, and Xi from China. And the only people that responded was
Oh, does
Putin's
he speak
people.
English, or he will have a
I don't know.
translator?
We don't even speak English. But all I know,
I don't.
all I know is that The only group that David said that got back to him was Putin's press secretary. He said,
Oh,
"Thank you for the invite. It takes 6 months to a year for us to make this kind of a decision." And that was about a year ago. So I guess we have to resend the letter. We did send, we did reach out to, just because we thought it would be fun, we reached out to Tommy Cruise and we said, Tommy,
tell us
how the
about
heck
the
are you?
new film that
I
you're
saw
the
the new
last
film.
one.
I know this, the last one I saw it, and it was, may I say, mwah, excellent
Yeah.
film. Yeah, Tommy
Okay.
did a good job. I'm very, and his stunts were unbelievable. And knowing that he does them makes it even better. But the film was good, unbelievable, and liked it a lot. And then we've been joking on a couple of the shows, Habano Saturdays, Lost Dollar Business Club, and here it was like Tommy should come on, pick a show, because we got 20 of them. Pick a show. Let's talk about your movie career and about the movie business, because it'd be fascinating. The guy's been in the movies for like 100 years. So, and they go with risky business and this one and that one and blah, 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 blah. So it would be fascinating to talk to him about it. So we've thrown it out there. None of us know how to get a hold of his people. Like, our people don't know his people. So it's sort of like, so we threw it out there like, Tommy, if you want to
So
come
it's
on,
a
reach
difficult
out, reach
task.
out. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. You never know.
Maybe send
Someone
another
watching the
one
show.
with a different topic. Tell to him, we'll discuss only gossips
Well, we could, well,
about your
I was really,
sexual life, your religious
nah,
life.
could care less about that crap. I want to talk about the movie business. I would say we would talk about
We will
Scientology.
cheat on him. We will ask him
We
for.
will
I
cheat.
mean, ask him
No, no,
for
no, no. With Tommy,
different.
if listen, if Tommy really did come on, I think we would talk about the movie business, because he's been in it for 40 years. And it'd be interesting to hear his perspective of how it started when he started in the late 80s, and how it changed from there to today. That would be interesting. So so to me, that would be an interesting topic, that I could have a dialogue with. I could care less
I
about
was a fan of
Scientology
Top
or his
Gun, of the
sexual stuff.
first Top Gun. I was a fan
I
of
saw that.
the Top Gun,
I don't,
the
yeah,
first
the
one,
second
not
one
that.
was okay. The second one was
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah,
enjoyed
but
it.
not that good.
It was, yeah, the first one was, that's a classic.
To be honest, I don't remember even this one, but the first Top Gun, I remember it.
This one, because you remember Kelly McGillis barely wearing clothing.
Yeah, and it was all good. I mean,
Yeah,
it was always the originals are better. The sequence, the second one,
equals.
third
Yeah.
one. The same happened to Matrix. Same happened to
No,
it's.
The John Wick movies have always been really good. So I like that they do really good with John Wick. So they've
I
done,
don't like those.
really.
They were just, yeah. For me, it was like kind of silly. But I don't. Okay, he wasn't playing even well. I mean, Keanu. Yeah.
Well, they just go, here's a bunch of money and just run around and kill people. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just running,
Yeah.
and it was kind of fake running. Also, I don't know.
It wasn't, it was no Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, but
that
even
was a good,
those,
good
they
movie.
have qualities. Some are better, some are worse.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
I
they had
need to
George
catch up a
Carlin.
little with movies, but now I have a little work because I haven't been working for 1 month.
Yeah.
I couldn't do a show, but I was traveling all the time. It was impossible. I was traveling almost every day.
Don't you have a show coming up?
I have a show coming up, but I'll be working on that from now
Okay.
on October in
Oh, I thought you
Athens.
had one in June. No, not one in June.
No, June. June is June is holidays again.
Oh, okay. God forbid you.
No, but I'm
I,
going to Athens to prepare, to see the
gotcha. Okay.
space and to talk about the sponsors
Okay.
and stuff. And it's going to be good because we have a lot of ideas. We're doing it with a curator from Athens.
Okay.
She's also a collector, and
Okay.
we want to. I can say it now because it's set up now that the show is going to be called Ex Machina, for like the movie Ex Machina, which I changed it to Ex Humana,
Ex Humana. Okay.
and
Very good.
Metamorphosis. This word
Okay.
was proposed by AI, and the X means, like we all know, the previous, but
Right.
it comes also from the Greek ek with K,
Right.
and it means something that is coming from something ek
Right.
that's something that's coming from. So when you say humana, it's coming from humans.
Okay.
And the whole idea is we'll be talking about the first of all, there are two stages of this exhibition. Of course,
Right.
we're going to talk more about it in the future. Maybe we'll show some designs that I'll be
Okay.
doing for this show. It's not a show. It's not a show for selling artworks because
All
it's
right.
a municipal gallery. It's the third biggest
Right.
municipality in Athens. Athens is a lot
Wow.
of municipalities, you know. So it's the
Okay.
third biggest. It's Athens, Piraeus,
Yeah.
and Peristeri. So we're doing Peristeri. Peristeri means dove,
Okay.
and we're doing there. And we have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas also, and it's going to be in two different, like kind of themes. They're not different; they're connected, but one is wider, and one is about the technology and art and creatives for
Right.
creatives. So in this exhibition, I'm going to present, every kind of digital medium that I work on,
Wow.
either a little, but
Right.
it's to show to the people like what you can do now with technology, how
Right.
you
Right.
can be creative. It's that you don't like we know that with AI you don't have to finish any art school or any university to
Right.
create something interesting, but you know you have to get to know the medium AI, which is it's easy to create something from scratch, from
Right.
nothing, like very fast something. But if you want something specific, it's more hard to work on it.
Yeah.
And when I was in Poland, also, brother of Natalie, my
Yeah.
fiance, he's working a lot with AI, but he's also working with physical. He's using them for many things, and one of the things that he's using is creating music, songs,
Okay.
and he's created some songs that are really really nice. I mean, he writes the text and then asks
Mhm.
from the AI to make the music and
You,
the
you know, we do that too.
voices and everything.
Yeah. You know, we do
Sorry?
that. David's got a whole bunch of songs. We've got
Yeah, a
a
lot of people are doing. Yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
but we
but
have a whole we have a whole on our channel. We have a whole playlist dedicated to music, and we've made four different genres of music. One of them,
mm,
and I say this tongue in
see,
cheek, David made up a black cowboy. He's like, I'm going to make a cowboy, and he says, I'm going to make him black. I'm like, okay. He made up this black cowboy, and every time we release one of this guy, his name is something Dakota, like Dakota Hayes, I think is what we call him, Dakota Hayes. And Dakota Hayes, every time we release one of his songs, it just explodes on the internet. So we get a
you
kick out of the
see.
fact that David wrote the lyrics, and he has this program that we pay like $100 a year for, which we get the copyrights, and it gives us
Yeah,
once
is
you
it
write the
called?
it gives.
Okay, we're not doing advertisement, but is it called Sumo?
I have no idea. I just give him the credit
Yeah,
card, and he just buys it.
the
Yeah,
one that Luke,
yeah,
it's his
it's
name. Luke
great.
is doing is called Sumo. But I mean, to finish a song, he's
Yeah,
going through I don't know a number of songs. You know, it's changing, it's changing, it's changing, it's changing.
yep,
But if you listen to the result, it's really beautiful song. So I
yeah,
decided that one song is it's like a ballad. You know, it's a
right.
slow song and everything. I like very much, and I say I'm going to make a video also with digital means,
AI.
of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to present it there also in the exhibition. So there will be
Nice.
this video. There will be the 3D printings that I'm working on now on new stuff.
Okay.
There will be my traditional 3D digital
Naked women. Sure.
images,
Yeah, yeah.
artworks that I do. We will try to do VRs also.
Nice.
So it's going to be a lot of stuff, that it's linked to technology. I
Okay.
mean, everything will be from technology.
Right, right.
So, and we want to do some talks, two different talks. One about the technology and art,
Hmm.
how it works, what's the future about it, and one general, which also links to the title, like ex humana, that
Right, right.
the question will be, and I want people also to be there, like to talk about it. What's the future of those things and how it affects us, the humans? I mean, are we becoming like ex-humans? I mean, are
Right.
we becoming kind of robots? Is automation becoming a very serious thing to our lives?
Yeah.
So it's
There's going
more
to be humans
philosophical,
left.
more social
Right.
discussion and questions about what's going on and how we can guide this thing towards
But pretty
a
soon there'll
path
be
that.
no
Yeah, yeah,
humans will be left. It'll be great. It'll be, yeah,
well,
but we go back to this topic. We had this with Brown Car Guy last couple weeks ago on his show.
yeah, we have also
Um,
talked a lot about those
right.
things, but
Well, for humans are AI, if you think about it. I mean, if you think about what we are, we're just zeros and ones. So our
we're
DNA,
we're not zeros and ones. There are
we
many
are.
discussions about it. We are
And
not.
there's a astrophysicist that says he found zeros and ones in the universe, coded in the universe. It was a
That's
whole
bullshit.
topic. No, I'm telling. Listen, this guy has a PhD in astrophysics, so I'm going to believe him
So
over
what?
them. So, but he says he's found
Until
it.
the other guys which have
And
also PhDs. I mean, the
Neil Tyson
whole
Grayson, or whatever his name is, Neil Tyson Grayson, the guy with 47 names that killed Pluto as a planet, he agrees. And then we're on this panel, and I watched the whole interview, and
that
I was
doesn't mean
fascinated.
much. That doesn't. There's
Yeah,
a
listen,
look.
you killed my
The
planet, so
scientists in astrophysics, especially in physics in general,
yeah, yeah,
like especially those who popularize how
right.
we call it science
Popularized,
in
all right.
the social media, on TV, and everything. Uh, I don't think they are really doing really great job about what they're doing, because they have entered they have many hypotheses about things, because right now they cannot connect the theories of Einstein, which
Right,
work
right.
in general, with quantum mechanics, with the
Mm,
study of the small things, the particles and everything. They cannot. There, it's like two different realities, right?
right, right.
So they need to link those, because they do not match. So there's a problem
Right.
for them. So they're thinking of very crazy ideas like the
Mhm.
multiverses and everything, which are
String
not really.
theory, right,
Yeah, they don't base it on some evidence or something like that. They are
right.
just like mathematical hypotheses, and they don't always work in reality. And
So what are you trying to say exactly?
they take it for sure that this is the thing that
Listen,
exists.
nothing. We don't know how we even got here. So I mean, like, you either believe the fable, or you go and which, and the Big Bang is a fable, or the book that everyone believes is a fable, or you believe the Anunnaki brought you here, or you believe you're living in
Yeah,
a
yeah,
matrix, or blah blah.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody
So
knows. That's the best part.
we don't know this universe, how it
Yeah,
started. Is it
I know. Well,
forever?
we
Was
do.
it
We
forever
technically
here?
do. This universe is easy. It was started by Marvin, the alien, and he was one day goofing around, and it just
It has
started,
a
and
name.
that's it. Yeah, Marvin. No, Marvin and I talk all the time, but that's how it started. It's no big surprise here. So, but I'm just saying, nobody can tell you how anything started. So when they give us all these hypotheses, I'm fascinated, like the string theory, the Big
Yeah, yeah.
Bang,
The,
and
the
this.
string theory doesn't work.
Mm,
That's what I tell you. Like, for
yeah,
example, uh, uh, the grass. I
grass.
don't think he's a string theorist. Maybe he
No,
was,
he's not.
but Green or uh, um, the other, the Asian one, who is a
Yeah.
little older.
Oh,
He's
his name
taking
is.
he's taking string because it's a
Yeah.
work of a lifetime, but it didn't turn
Yep.
out to be working. So it's just a hypothesis, which turns out it's not trend anymore. It used to be a
Right.
big trend,
Oh yeah, back in the '80s, it was
especially.
huge.
Yeah, yeah, especially when it was they were building the Large
Kaleidoscope.
Hadron Collider
Right.
in Switzerland. There, they were expecting to find some evidence about supersymmetry and stuff like that
Right.
that will back up the hypothesis of string theory,
Yep.
and but they didn't. But they for the hypothesis to work, they also implemented multiverses, an infinite
Now wait a minute.
number
We
of
do. Wait,
multiverses.
wait, wait, wait. We have a guy. We have someone named Moon Shoes. And so, anything somebody named Moonshoes types is credible. They go, Big Bang isn't a fable. Well, I tend to disagree with you, but that's okay. We have evidence for it. And what says what we don't have evidence for is a mind absent of a physical brain. Yes, Moonshoes, that would be you. Thank you. Simply stating Big Bang is not a fable just means you're uneducated in the field of science. I actually am, and I do think it is a fable like everything else, because I can prove to you the string theory is correct. I can prove to you that God
You cannot
exists.
prove the string theory is correct.
No, my point
That's what
is
I
I
was
can't
saying,
prove
that
big.
it wasn't
I don't know, but
unproven.
my point is they can't. You listen. You can prove anything. Big Bang, these two scientists heard a thing and they go, "This is the Big Bang," but they don't know. They just have the sound that
Yeah,
they
there are
heard back in the
evidences.
beginning.
That's why what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying that Big Bang isn't fair, and I agree up to a point, because
Right.
we know what happened some milliseconds after.
Right. Right.
We don't know what's really the singularity of the Big Bang.
Correct.
So
So to
because,
me,
and
it's
we
still
have
like it's still
some
it's a
evidence.
yeah, it's still a hypothesis. It's and so he
Yeah, but
criticized me
there are
because he doesn't.
evidences. There are more
There's
evidence in
it. Can
this
I tell you
hypothesis than
something?
others.
There's there's evidence on a lot of things, and people still don't believe them. So I don't believe that I have a hard time with the Big Bang because saying that there was this explosion when there was nothing, there had to be something to make the
It's not an
explosion.
explosion. It's not an explosion. It's expansion. It's a rapid
Right,
expansion.
but before the expansion, they said there was nothing. So I have a hard time with that. And just because you
No, no,
get a
no.
signal from
They
billions of
can't
years
say there
and
was nothing.
whatever,
They don't know what there was. There was
because that's
like
what they say.
infinite. There was a point. That's
Yeah.
what they are saying. There was a point with
Mhm.
infinite mass, and this point with infinite mass, they expanded suddenly.
Right.
And but there are many hypotheses, like Penrose, who's
Mhm.
a Nobel winner. He's very old, but still very well thinking. You can
Right.
still see him debating other physicists about
Right.
that. He's saying that there was something before,
Right.
and but the question is that we are short of words here, because saying before implies time.
Right.
Before is time, yeah, about time,
Right.
and
And time
time
is
was,
linear.
but
Yeah.
time was created there. What
Right.
they say.
Well, no, it
There
wasn't
are other
created there.
hypotheses about that. That there
Right.
is time is multidimensional.
Right.
This is also a hypothesis. So there are
Right.
many hypotheses that are working on. The biggest evidence for Big Bang is the first light, is the microwave background
And,
radiation.
I know all that stuff. I understand it. So maybe fable was the wrong word, but I close enough because of all the other crap. So that hypothesis is great. But nobody can go back there and go, yes, this is exactly what happened to create it.
Yeah, okay, but on the other hand, they said that nobody have been to the moon, but later they went to the moon. We didn't have any robotics on Mars. Now we have. We're working on it.
But I think
That's
here's the
for
thing about
sure.
and here's the thing about the moon. I listen. I think we went. So let's not like be hysterical about that. But I do find it funny that NASA says they misplaced all the documents that help them get to the moon. Like somebody like threw them away. I'm thinking this is the most significant
No,
thing
they
man
don't
has
want to
ever
show
written.
it.
No,
That's
they
what
don't have it. They said
how you know.
they literally somebody was interviewing NASA 20 years ago and said, "Where's all the the plans and the documents and da da da?" And they go, "We don't have it." And I just thought that to me was like, "Are you kidding? Like, how do you lose that?" So I think that's part of the hypothesis that people come up with. We never went to the moon. Now I think we did, but what do I know? Now the Chinese are on the moon on the dark side right now, and they're having a field day over there apparently. So the moon and Mars, I guess, are going to be the next battlegrounds for mining and war. So that'll be fun.
Well, it reminds me the series of For All Mankind. It was called like this.
Right, right.
Like there was an alternative story about the race to the moon and everything
Right.
between the Russians and the Soviets and the
Okay.
Americans. And in this series, the Russians went first.
Yeah, yeah,
So they changed, and then it goes to the Mars and everything. It becomes science fiction. It's all science fiction, but anyway.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, those are fictions. So we know.
What
So we
are
back
they?
up the Big Bang. The new thing that I wrote recently,
Hmm.
recently about this, is that they are believing that the expansion of the universe, because they said that the expansion is getting stronger, it's getting
Yeah.
faster. Now they are thinking that it's actually not going faster, but it's slowing down. And this
Right.
is this is strange, that because that might imply that maybe the Big Bang is always like expanding, and then again with gravity
Hmm.
coming into implosion. The different, and then again maybe it's
Right.
like all the time breaking and doing all the time. Maybe that is what is creating the universes, or the universe. Maybe it's one that is, but I don't believe in multiverses. It's not
No, you
plausible
don't
in
think a multiverse?
any
Listen,
kind if you take it.
with
There are
dark
no
energy and
evidences.
there's no evidence. So once again, on the Big Bang, they heard something a billion year big deal. That doesn't mean it was the Big Bang. It could have been anything. That's the problem. So it's kind of like dark energy and dark oxygen. They didn't think it
Yeah,
believed.
but
They didn't think it was
look,
there. Now it's there.
we have to account for the microwave background radiation
Sure, but that's my
and
point. I can make up
the big bang.
anything and go,
The
look
big
what
bang.
this is. And that's what,
Yeah,
in
but
my
this
opinion,
is,
that's what they're
look.
doing.
It shows
Hmm?
what the slide shows, that the uniformity of the universe.
But does
So
it?
there are some very small fluctuations that
Right.
they created the universe that exists right now, but in
Okay.
general, it's very uniform,
Okay.
and that's what the light shows us. It's the first light that could come, because before that, the light couldn't. It was so dense,
Hmm.
the dust and everything was so
Yeah.
dense that the light could not escape. So this is the first light that came out of it, because the expansion, the
All
universe
right.
was very hot at the beginning, very hot, and as we progress in time, it's becoming more cold and cold and cold. So that we are here, we are in the middle somewhere. That it's not too hot, not, and you can see it from every point, like
Yeah,
the
but see,
distance
that's my
from the
problem.
sun. You know that
That's
the
just all.
planet
Listen,
is.
that's where this is to me. This becomes the fable. This is the fairy tale. We're in
No,
the
it's not a fairy
Goldilocks.
tale.
It's not
I
too
mean,
hot. It's not too this. Sure, and I can get a bowl of soup, and I can have three little bears. It's the same crap, and nobody can prove to me. I'm sorry. I've read all the papers. I
no, you
still am
don't
like,
want to be proven. You don't want
I would
to.
love to be, but I still don't. Here's what the problem is. When you talk to the guys who say, "Oh, we saw this light, and we think this, or we think that," what they
We
think
are
today, or they
look.
thought 20 or
We
30 years
are
ago, it
you and me,
changes
and
every other day. That's the
we
problem.
are not in a position. You, me,
Mhm.
and most of the people, we are not in a position to criticize any kind of those stories, because we don't have the education for this.
Let's
You need
bring
to
one
have
of them on.
education for this, and you and me, we cannot even say things about this background radiation that can, which is very important, because it's the
Right, right.
first light that we can see.
Well, we think it
That,
is.
well, they we think it is. They think that this is it. We don't have any kind. We are not in a position to say, "Oh no, we don't like the story." We're not in
No,
this
well,
position.
it's a fable. That's why we don't like it. Now, Neil
It's not a
Tyson Grayson or
fable.
whatever
It's not a
it's
fable.
listen.
What is a
Well,
fable?
a
Fable is a
scientist comes
story in a
on.
book that
I
it's
know
not real.
it's a
Fantasy.
what the light is from the beginning of time. So here's what I'm saying: if we can get a scientist to come on the show and take us through it in the Dummy's Guide to the Big Bang and this first light thing that you're all excited about, the microwave, that would be fascinating to me. Whether I agree with it or I don't makes nothing. I just want to hear it put out
I
in
can send
layman
you links
terms.
about that. I cannot
Dude, I read all that, but the
express like
fans
this
don't. The
because I'm a
fans don't want to
scientist.
read. Our fans don't know how to read. They want to hear a scientist talk to us
I
about it.
can send you videos that they talk. So, I
And
mean,
right, but our fans aren't going to watch those videos. They want to
and
watch
I
us
think that
with
the
the
fans can
scientists.
read. If
No,
they can't read, I mean, we
they can't
cannot
read.
persuade them anyway.
I know, but that's why they want to hear a scientist come on our show and say, "Listen, this is what happened," and take us through the process. So we need to find a scientist that wants to come on the show and take us through the process.
Yeah, but in general, we know that this
Well, yeah, I got the in general
microwave
thing, but
radiation
if I just
exists.
agree with
We
you,
know
if I
it.
just agree with you, then it wouldn't be a fun show. And if I don't call it a fable, it won't be a fun show. It'll be like, yeah, this is what happened. We're done. Okay, next topic. So I have to like be the protagonist and
Yeah,
disagree.
but I don't like to
Mhm.
question things that I cannot really. I mean, how can I question? Like in the pandemics, there was, the whole thing, and still there is. And I mean, there are people who don't believe in the. Uh, I mean,
Believe in what? The shot, the COVIDs,
yeah,
Putin. What? Pick one of the
yeah,
dots.
the shots that we
Oh,
took.
shot. I got a bunch of those shots and those little nanos now. Bill Gates tracks me, calls me, asks how I'm doing all the time. I go, I'm doing good, Bill.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I'm good.
you've seen what happened, and
Yeah.
still happens. That a lot
Yeah.
of people saying, the scientists. I was having a talk, like bullshit talks on the internet.
Yeah.
And a guy tells me that 90% of the scientists, they take bribes, and
Right.
the green, there is no change of climate. It was always
Mhm.
like this. I said, what the fuck was
Mhm.
always like this? I,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it always changes, but it always changes very slow. Except from the
Right.
times like something catastrophic happened, like 66 million years ago, when there was the asteroids, killed the dinosaurs and everything. This is a fact. Okay, and it
Do we
changed.
know that though? We weren't here for
Yeah,
that. We just
we
say
know
that's
it.
the fact.
We know
Okay,
it.
okay, I'm just
We have
checking. All right.
evidences. Yeah, we know it. And we also
Sure we
know
do.
that since that time, slowly the dinosaurs
Yeah.
didn't exist. They stopped existing because they are not here. Not even
Right.
mammoths and everything. We are
Right.
here.
Right.
Okay. But
Right.
we have the evidence that they were here for a long, long
Right.
time, like for a million years. They used to live. But
Right.
something came, and we know it for many facts, not only for that, because it was a very
Mhm.
catastrophic event. And there have
Right.
been such catastrophic events, like I think five. There were five
Right.
events that killed a lot of species.
Right.
Like
And we're
8%,
next. We'll be number
9%.
6.
Yeah, but if it happens, it will happen because of us. Because of our doings.
Right.
And that's what they are trying to say. That look, maybe physically the weather will change and the
Mhm.
climate will change because of the sun and everything, but we are making it faster. We are adding to how fast it's happening.
Right.
And this is the narrative of Trump also, that it doesn't it's not true.
Right.
What if it is true? It's the same thing that we are also doing with AI, which will be also faster. Will be even
Mhm.
faster. Oh, no, it's not a danger. We will control it.
No, we won't. I'm waiting for AI
Yeah,
to take over.
will we? Will we? How
No, we
sure
can't
can
control
we
it
be?
now.
Even even if there is a 5% of 10% that we
Mhm.
will not going to control it, and we're gonna
Right.
be killed,
Yeah.
extinct by a thing that we created.
Yeah. It's
And
exciting, isn't it?
should we take the risk?
Sure, we should. It'll be fun.
No, I don't see fun in children dying, for example.
The
From
whole planet's going to die. I hate to break
What's the
the
fun
news to
on
you.
it?
But
What's the
I hate to
fun?
break this news to you. Listen, I hate to break the news to you. I mean, because it's been in a lot of the papers, but everybody dies. So, if the
Yeah,
AI
but
takes
let's
over and,
start at the age of 19, not at the age of
90,
10 or
100,
5.
that's what I agree. So the AI will enslave us, keep us alive to 100, and then they get rid of us. And there you go.
Maybe it won't even enslave us. They will
Well, it
just
probably will because,
exterminate.
no, if you terminate us, what fun is it going to have? We're the
It doesn't
ants.
have feelings. It doesn't have feelings to have fun.
Apparently it does because mine tells me
It
funny jokes
follows
every day.
it
So,
follows programming. And
yeah,
if you
but now they
program
want to
it
have
to
generative AI
exterminate,
that's
it will
going to learn.
exterminate.
But they have
Like,
generative AI now.
do we
That's
use AI in guns, in weapons? We do.
yeah,
What
of
do
course
they
we do.
do? They follow
Yeah.
programming,
So we'll
the
make better
orders that we
AI
give it.
that says, make the world a better place.
What happens if they start, because it kind of already happening, that
Mhm,
will be start advancing with
mhm.
by themselves,
Yeah,
because
they are
we
doing that
program
now.
it to advance
Yeah,
yourself. I don't know,
yeah,
I'm simplifying things now. Okay,
yeah.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not. We're saying now
You
many
only explain one
different
on TV.
things of
Yeah.
science. We're not science. We don't know much, but we
Well, we
have
know
to
a little
hold
bit.
on to science. What is the Because science is the objective thing that we have. All the
Right.
other things are subjective stories. I mean, you can believe that we come from aliens. Nobody can tell you not to believe it, but it's your subjective thing.
Right.
And we need objective things. Like, for example, we have
Where do you
used,
think we come from? Where do we come from? Do we come from apes? Is that what you're going to go with?
even if I say that we come from apes, the apes came from something else. I mean, yeah, I believe in the evolution.
Evolution? Do you
Yeah,
really?
by natural selection, I believe this is a proven fact.
Yeah.
And
Once again,
yeah,
another fable. Here's the problem I have with all of it. Nobody really knows. So everybody throws out and they put it into the science that we understand today. But the science of 1,000 years now, or 1,000,000 years ago, when just say there was more advanced technology here, if you go with that, who knows? So that's what I'm more
yeah,
fascinated
but you're
by.
questioning
What it
everything.
is.
But
I do
look,
question everything because I believe nothing. That's I've learned as a child. You
if you
believe
don't believe
nothing.
nothing, that means that you don't believe that we are using technology right now, and we use like
Well, that I believe because I can touch
electricity
it.
and the speed of light to
I
communicate.
got that. I'm
Because
okay with all
this,
that.
it's not if you're okay. do
I'm okay
you
with that.
do you accept this is a
Yeah,
fact?
of course. Speed of light facts.
Okay,
Yeah, and I
it
also
wasn't a
believe that.
fact 100 years ago. It wasn't a fact
I know.
50 years ago. People
Yeah, it's a
couldn't do
fact
this.
today. Well,
Yeah, it's a
well,
fact today. But if
yeah,
you told it to a people like 100 years ago, you say this is your science fiction. It's not going
yeah,
to
yeah.
happen. But
That's not
somebody
true.
but
Just
some people
yeah.
started to think and
Hmm.
putting things together,
Yeah.
scientists,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they came up with ideas how we can use this new finding, and they
Yeah.
slowly progressed into sending probes to Mars. This is a fact. They sent, and what did they use? They use actually theories of Einstein. They work.
Mhm.
It's it's a fact. They work.
Okay.
And also, for example, how because people are making fun of scientists and stuff, like if we could understand quantum mechanics, which is really hard. It's hard
Right.
for scientists, for physicians,
Right.
and but it's working. We use quantum mechanics into our
Mhm.
cell phones. We're using it, and I mean many applications that we
Right.
have found. It's a fact,
Right.
and this fact is objective. I mean, you, me, and everybody can use it, so we
Right.
cannot question that. So there are things we cannot question. It's working.
Mhm.
Aeroplanes, they fly. I just came from
Yeah.
with an aeroplane. It's crazy to my head. It's crazy,
Right.
but it's working because I was there. Now
Okay.
if I go and read why how it's
Yeah.
I mean, for me the most
Thermodynamics. Yeah.
craziest thing is that in 1 minute you are
Right.
down on the ground, and in
Yeah.
1 minute it's one
Yeah.
minute
One
you
minute.
are so high,
Yeah.
so high, and
And that's before you get
you
on
look
the
down
airplane.
and you see what the fuck, how does it happen? It's
I
still
know.
for me mystery, but it happens, and it's science, and it's
Right.
objective because I mean, right now there are hundreds or maybe thousands airplanes flying around and
Mhm.
quite safe. I mean, very safe,
Mhm.
very safe. So we have come to a point that we have like conquered some things, and
Yeah.
we are
We conquered
doing
flight.
it is
Okay. Great. We conquered flight. Okay.
well. If we start talking about what we have conquered, can be talking like for a year like this. We have conquered a lot
Oh.
of things. We have
Well.
medicine, we have cars, we have internet, we have
No, we have
AI,
medicine now.
we have robotics, we
We
have
have antibiotics now that doesn't work because of the super microbiotic thing I read in The Economist. So there's a problem with
well,
antibiotics. So we have a lot of stuff. The problem is that as a civilization, I think we rest on our laurels a lot. It's
that's
like,
a
oh, look what
different
we've done.
story.
Well,
That's a
I'm just saying,
philosophical story, I'd say. That's
maybe
different thing. It's a
that's the
philosophical
story
story.
of humanity, though. We rest on our laurels
Yeah,
until
and I believe
something
in philosophy
happens.
which is based on science. I
Right,
mean,
right,
we need the evidence. Even in philosophy, the philosophers were always very close and linked to scientists. And some philosophers were scientists also.
right,
Like Jung. Jung was a scientist, actually. He never called himself a philosopher. But at the end, you could see that what he was talking about was philosophical things.
right,
And this is what happens, and I'm criticizing those scientists because you see, I said it at the beginning that I
right,
criticize those scientists which popularize science, but they put things into their talking which are science fictions, they are philosophy. They are not
right,
philosophers. I mean, when there is a need for multiverses for string theory to work, I mean, you come up with something that is
right.
not plausible to think. I mean, why would there be every nanosecond a new creation of a universe? What? Why for? I mean,
Right.
why would that happen?
Well,
So that what
why would this be
we
here though?
split into this is the Adam that is here and Adam
Yeah.
that is not talking to, and it's not an artist and is a doctor maybe in another
Hey,
universe.
congratulations.
This science fiction. This is fable.
But
This
here's
is
my whole
fable
point
for
though.
me.
Well, it's all fable. It's all whatever. We believe what we believe because it's what our scientists tell us, and it's what our feeble little minds can understand. And I think governments and probably more advanced scientists probably know more than they're ever going to tell. Because if you really knew how we got here, and Big Bang is good, it's for stupid people. Like, here's the Big Bang, there you go, knock yourself out. They're like, okay, Big Bang or God, you pick it and you go, yay. But if they really told you, if they really found out how we got here, whatever you
Yeah,
believe,
but
A
what do
through
you mean
Z,
how? How we got here, sitting
how we got,
here on
well, no,
the
no, not how we, so how the universe was really formed. Let's say they really found out
we
how it
don't
was
know.
there.
We don't know for
That's
sure.
my point. And
We
it
have the
wasn't,
best
no,
the
no, let's
best
say it wasn't the Big Bang and it wasn't God. It's somewhere in between. And somebody found out and they could prove
maybe
it to you.
both are true.
Maybe. But if they can prove it to you, that would throw the world in a whole direction That would be crazy because people wouldn't know what to do with that. They couldn't accept it. It's very funny. It's either you're A or Z or somewhere in between. But if someone says, "Oh no, it's none of that. It's this,"
But
and there's not
it is
anywhere between A and
accepted
Z.
that
That's it.
that the Big Bang is the closest to true that we have from the evidence that we have. It's the
Yeah,
closest.
because that's all we
Nobody can
understand,
offer a different story, a narrative.
right?
Okay, I agree to you that everything is narrative,
Right.
like a story.
That's
Everything
it.
in our life
That's what
is
I'm
story,
saying.
even
Yeah.
science. But the science that we have and it's working because not all science is working. They are doing
Right.
experiments. They are doing experiments that I've talked about planaria. This
Hmm.
great Levin, this scientist, he's biologist and is doing great. And he showed that he took those planaria and he cut the head. They had a new head,
Hmm.
all those stuff. They trained it into labyrinth to find the food. They cut the head. The,
Hmm.
the, the animal grew a new head and he remembered how to find food. That it's kind of evidence because we're not sure, but that's how science works.
Right.
That probably the memory is not in the head because the planaria has everything, all the neurons and everything, all the neural system is in the head there.
Hmm.
It's not like ours, which is more complicated. So if they take the head, I mean, you have nothing left, right?
Right.
How they regrew the head and remembered how to find the food. And this
Hmm.
is crazy. And it's scientific evidence now.
Right.
Okay, we need to pair it with other things to tell, after all, that maybe the memories are not stored in our brain, because this is also about it. Maybe it's somewhere in the whole body. Maybe
Hmm.
it's even outside the body. I don't know.
Maybe it's just in our DNA.
Crazy stuff, because we are entering into crazy period of our lives anyway. I mean,
You think so?
of course, of course.
You think with
I
all this
mean,
technology? Yeah. I think.
we take like so much for granted, but it's
Hmm.
not. I mean, we live like we're going to live forever, but we're not. And we don't think much about, we're doing children. I'm not, but we're not protecting them from
Well, that's
ourselves.
true. That's true.
We're not protecting them. I mean,
Yeah.
we are not so much grown. We need more and education. And you
Right.
can see that people are very fanatics on ideas which are crazy, with no evidence. They fit to the story that they like, and they
Right.
believe that this is the truth. You can say it about religion also. You can say it about many things. But what
Hmm.
science is trying to objectify things, and if they work, they work. We can use it. If they don't work, they don't work. It was a fable.
Scientists objectify, or they produce a hypothesis because of whatever grant or endowment they get that'll be more widely accepted, so they can get another grant or endowment. That's how I look at
Yeah,
it. I
but
don't.
if it doesn't work, if it don't give a practical
Mhm.
outcome from the hypothesis, that means that they have to have experiments.
Right.
It's not science. I mean, the science is based on experiments, so you have to
Yeah,
do
I
the
got that.
experiment. So
But yeah,
you
but my
need the
point.
hypothesis to start your
Right.
experiments, because you're
Okay.
thinking the same happened with the boson particle. You know that they were
Right.
the particle of God, that
God
they called it, or
particle. Yeah,
something.
the
Yeah, yeah,
God
yeah, the
particle.
God
Yeah.
particle. They changed the
Yeah.
name because it's the particle that gives mass. Yeah. So
Right.
so it's, so it's so called, from nothing comes something. It's probably, we don't understand the term nothing. Probably
Right.
there isn't nothing. There's
Right.
always
There's always
something.
something. Right. Right.
Yeah. One hypothesis is that we are, is the consciousness, the fields, that if they are at rest, they look
Hmm.
like nothing. They are doing
Okay.
nothing. But if they're excited, they
Right.
produce like particles, like the
Right. Well,
ones that we that
that's the
creates us.
hypothesis. When you have the lights off and you're about to go into the kitchen, there's nothing there. When you turn the lights on, then
Yeah,
everything appears because the particles are
yeah.
like, "Oh, we
It
got to go
looks
to work."
dark. Nothing. There's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
here. Well,
Yeah.
but there is,
Right.
and
That's
and
my
it's
point.
sure, For example, we know it's from science that
Yeah.
the light, it comes in wave in form of wave also,
Right.
but we can perceive the light with our eyes only one part. If this is the whole
Right.
spectrum of the light, we can see only this. Some animals have a little more. They can
Hmm.
see ultraviolet a little more. So that means that they can see colors that for us don't exist because we
Right.
cannot see them, but they can see it. Or other crazy stuff, like for example, the strength that the dogs have with the smell.
Hmm.
It's incredible. Like we don't have it. That
Right.
doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That some other species have. They have.
Right.
So that's why we study them, and we
Yeah.
have some numbers. Oh, the dog can smell 10,000 times
Right.
more
Right.
strong than we do, and but we have my problem is with science is that we talk too much without knowing much. Even we do it now.
Hmm.
I'm very careful about that, and I say that okay, the whole Big Bang story, for example, narrative is the
Hmm.
closest we have. It's the closest we have. We don't have something. If something comes, science have no problem to take out the rest and say,
Right.
oh, finally, Einstein, you are very, very clever and work for a long time, but now it doesn't work because we
Right.
have
I don't
found some
know. You know
evidence.
what? I don't agree with that. I don't think science would do that. I think that science is so scared of whatever they're scared of, and the people are so
What is
ignorant. I don't think they
science?
would ever do
Not
it. They
scared
don't
of
teach the
anything.
kids.
Doesn't have
They don't teach
feelings.
the kids anything now. So what are they? They're not going to teach them anymore. So no, I don't think science. If science finds, hey, this is how we came. I don't think that. What? It's no big deal. They talk. They make publications all the time that are like earth shattering, and I'll read a few of them, and I'm like, this is great, but it's not covered in the news. So no, I don't really think if they said we have definitive proof that this is how this all started, I don't think anybody really cares. I mean, we do, of course, because for ratings. But I mean, other
Well,
than
it's a
that and
different story.
curiosity, but nobody
If
cares.
somebody doesn't care because he believes in some kind of God and he believes that God created
I'm
and
not even
believes that
saying
the
that. I
God
don't think
had a
the
beer
the
and everything,
public
well, you
in yeah,
cannot
yeah, yeah,
do too
but the
much.
public in general, I don't think the public in general cares. I think we've gotten to a point in
Well,
our
okay.
society that they don't believe anything they're told. And that's why, whether it's a politician, a scientist, whatever, people believe nothing anymore because everybody is out for whatever they're out for. To your point, like, oh, the guy's on TikTok or on YouTube, he's trying to get ready, but they're not real scientists. And even if they are. So I think people just look at it as like, oh, what are they hawking now? What are they trying to sell this week? So I think that's part of it is that people just don't have faith in the scientific community
This
anymore.
is also a different issue, and
And
it's
that's a
true.
big
It's
issue.
true that there are many papers that come out, and but this it's a problem of media also. How they
Right.
present it to us and everything like that, because they take one paper which is not totally proven,
Right.
but it sounds nice, for
Right.
people. It's small articles because people don't like to read, like,
I don't know.
okay, they don't like to go deep,
Right.
and oh, it makes look now what they are saying. But if you try to dig deeper a little about this thing
Mhm.
that they're reading, you'll see that it's a hypothesis that is not proven yet. It's
Right.
a new story that came up. That doesn't mean that's and those articles they say one scientist found something like this.
Right. Right.
Well, those, yeah, we should be critical about those. If you want to be right, you have
Mhm.
to try to find out. Send us the links. Send us
Right.
what everything that the scientists have found. And first of all, to the other scientists, which have the
Right.
background scientific to tell all those guys if this is
Right.
working actually or not. And if it's working, well, you know what will happen? Other scientists will come to it to dig deeper and deeper and deeper
It,
until we find some, plausible
yeah,
evidence and
I
stuff to say,
don't think
oh,
that
it's working.
I don't think that works that way anymore. I think back in the day,
Oh, it
Steve,
works.
I would no. I think that's a nice hypothesis that we wish it did, but it doesn't. I think back in the day, if you read history books and whatever, they'll be like, "Oh, look at this, and we found this, and blah blah." And then the scientists are like, "No, that's not real." But there are scientists back was 13th, 14th, 15th century, whenever they look what and they write about it, and people think, "No, that wasn't real." So no, I think what they do is they try to create the narrative the way, if you will, the government or whoever's in charge is like, this is the narrative you need to feed the stupid people, right? You can't tell them what really this, or this, whatever it might be. And so I
Yeah,
don't
but the
believe
thing
when they
is that
tell me stuff.
we are not all stupid, let's say. There
No,
are
I
some,
understand that,
there are,
but the governments think we're all idiots, and that's fine. Let them think that. The scientists mostly think that we're all idiots. That's why they do what they do. But my point is
yeah,
that
but they're not
I don't.
confronting the idiots They're
Right. No,
confronting
but
other
even
scientists, which are not stupid. I mean, if we
that's true.
take the stupid thing and call it this
Yeah,
thing,
but
that
I think
lack
that's
of
where you have
lack
to.
of education.
Right. But even if with the education, I think you have to question it when they go, I found, okay, how, where, what does this mean? I mean, I think you have to tear it apart more. And I don't think the general public does that. So that's what I'm saying. I would love to have a scientist come on our show and talk about whatever and we'll go, break it down. And then during his breakdown, go, I have a question about this. I have a question about that. And for him, it'd be like the dumbest question. But for the average person, that's a question that they have. And then once that gets answered, you're like, oh, you can go to the next question and I can get to where you're at.
Well, you can
But
do it with ChatGPT right now.
I don't want ChatGPT because ChatGPT lies. I want a real live person
Well,
that
also the
supposedly
people,
knows.
also
Yeah,
scientists,
but
sometimes they lie.
right. Well, I'm hoping that they don't lie as much as ChatGPT. So there you go.
Well,
So
there is a difference between scientists and science.
I
Like
understand that.
there's a difference between artist and art.
Right.
There's also a big difference between art and
Right.
market. It's
Yes,
a
I
big
know.
difference.
I understand all
I was
that. That's what I'm
saying to
saying.
my friend, he's a photographer, say, look, the art market and art are
Yeah.
totally different things. I
Right.
mean, not the best art is selling for the best money and
That's
etc.
true.
etc. It's things because there's money involved, and when there's money involved, and we need money. It
Mhm.
happens to scientists, happens to any kind of to religious people, to priests, to everything. When there's money
Oh,
around,
please
it
don't get going
changes
on
a
that.
lot.
Oh yeah. Well,
And it shows us that we humans, even if we are artists, even if we are scientists, in a society like that, which needs money for you to go on, you will do a lot of things for money. You will lie,
mhm,
you will deceive, you will cheat, you will do a lot of stuff because you need money.
right.
Well, that's not honest, but it happens. Not always. You cannot cheat
Mm.
the science in
Yes, you
general. That
can.
we say
You can
you
cheat
can.
anything. That's the best part.
You cannot
It's that's
cheat
what I'm saying.
mathematics. You cannot cheat
You you
mathematics.
can you can ch-
How?
you can cheat anything because
You cannot
this is
cheat.
what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say. You can create whatever narrative, and you can prove like there. I remember I watched this thing. Guy goes 2 + 2 is 5, and he goes, and I can prove it, and I'm sure you can, and you can do all this blah blah blah.
No,
At
he
the end,
can't.
at the they did this. Trust me, they used this mathematical formula that's like 7 hours long. I'm like, great, still 2 + 2 is 4, but yeah, go for 5. I could care less. My point is that you can prove anything you want. Now, whether it's right or wrong, different story. So when scientists talk, whether it's Big Bang, string, pick, I don't care. The Anunnaki made it, I don't care. However we came, Marvin made us, whoever. At the end of the day, I'm going to go back to what I've always said. Nobody knows. You still have to question everything. And just because we think some guy with a radio telescopes and hit a microwave and goes, that's the beginning. We think that's the beginning. That's the best proof we have because we don't know any better. So a
Yeah,
thousand or ten
that's what
thousand
I'm
years
saying.
from
That's
now,
science
they may say, "Oh, we were
because we
wrong."
don't have any better.
Right.
If
So at
we
some
use
point,
the best we have, we use the
right.
best we have.
But this is stuff they found back like 40 years ago. So we need a little better than that.
Yeah, because yeah, we are at the point which astrophysics at least they are doing a lot of findings. It's not that they're not doing. They're finding.
Right.
They found like we talked in another episode that they found this planet 140
Right.
light
Right.
years away from us that has
Yeah.
got some compounds in the atmosphere
Right.
that
But
in
they say
Earth
that's
on
wrong
Earth.
now. They
Sorry.
say that's wrong. They say there's something called black oxygen. And they were talking about black oxygen. They say now black
They
oxygen
don't
will
know.
be what gives life.
That's
That's
what
what I'm
science
saying.
doing. They're
Rolling the
finding
dice.
something.
Yeah.
They're finding something. Now they have to find out: is this really what's
Right.
happening there? What same as it's happening here? Because
Yeah.
here, this product comes on the aspirin from living organism. So it's a hypothesis that since
Right.
it's here, and we find it there, maybe it comes from living organism.
Right. Right.
There might be aliens, but there might be small worms only.
Yeah.
We don't know
Well,
at
that's what they're
what
saying. The dark oxygen.
stage.
That's the dark
And also,
oxygen.
there are big difference because that planet, for example, has got 4 times the mass of Earth. That means that
Mhm.
gravity is 4 times
That
stronger.
means those people are
You
going to
will
be really
weight
fat.
4 times more.
Yeah,
Like
fat
I am
people.
weighing 60 7 because I've gained some weight
since
in
your
Poland.
trip, sure. But I'm just saying, so, and then here's the hypothesis that I saw this week, which really just, I was like, they said Mars, when they dig up the soil, has compounds of nuclear war or nuclear waste. And they're saying maybe there was a nuclear war on Mars and then everybody came here. I'm like, okay, we can go with that one. So I'm like, that's fine. So, but my point is, once again, it's a hypothesis and nobody knows. So, like this planet that's
Yeah, but not
167
but
billion light
some
years
are not
away.
hypotheses anymore. They work. I mean,
Well, yeah,
we
the
have
law of
this.
thermodynamics,
This is
the law of
working. This is
thermodynamics.
science, and it's
Yeah, yeah,
working.
the law of thermodynamics works. I get that. That's a law that works.
All of the laws works. The
But not
gravity
all of the
works.
laws.
It's not.
Huh.
They used to think that it's a pull. Something. It's a force that's pulling things. Newton
Right,
was saying this.
right.
You remember the apple?
Apple, yeah.
Oh,
But that
it's
came from, that was discovered by the Muslims like 5,000 years before him. They figured out gravity and all this other stuff.
yeah, but he was the one to write,
Well, no one took what
mathematical
the Muslims said
equations and
accurate. They wrote equations too. That's what's really great. When you go look at history, the Chinese, the Muslim, they did it all. But Newton, because he's European, and remember, whoever writes history is the winner. They're like Newton discovered it. Technically, no. There were people before Newton that discovered it, and they wrote
well, we
equations and
didn't
did it.
have those equations before Newton.
Apparently, we did. It's just kind of got
Where?
shoved aside.
Where?
I watched the history professor the other day going through this whole thing where they all are. It was fascinating.
Well,
So it was like interesting.
there are charlatans all over. There are people
No, he's
who
like a
just
real
want to
professor, like
be.
like your Neil
There
Tasty
are
and Greystone guy
professors.
there.
I know professors which are sorry to say fucked up in the head. I mean,
Yeah. I'm hoping this guy's not fucked up in the
they're
head. He talked at Davos and the World Economic Forum, so it seems like he may have a clue. My point is, I think there's a lot of forgotten history. Kind of like when we go, Columbus discovered America, and he really
okay.
didn't.
That's true.
Columbus discovered like Bermuda, and he discovered the Bahamas. He never made it to America, and the Vikings were here in the like 1,000 CE, and the Chinese were here in 1,000 CE.
Well, I
So,
can tell you
but
about the Minoans here. The Minoans here had
right,
flashing toilets. They had to store building
two-story
to store
homes. Yeah,
building. They had internet in a way because you remember when we were watching movies with the Indians were doing the westerns,
yeah,
doing
yeah,
with a smoke to communicate. Well,
yeah,
they
yeah.
were doing it 4,000 years before.
Okay,
What happened? It was forgotten, like you said, the forgotten
right.
history, because the medieval time came, the Christianity and
Yeah,
everything. It was forgotten for a long time. Even ancient Greeks, the classical ancient Greeks, which
right,
were 1,500 years after them. It's a long time. They were
right.
so long behind and so advanced, and it was forgotten.
Yeah, but it's just like that's why they burned the library in Alexandria. Just think if they didn't burn it, what history we would have learned. But the Romans or whoever were like, no, can't have this. Let's burn it down.
No.
So,
For the Minoans, they couldn't because we don't have much writings. We didn't decipher their language yet, and
right,
we don't have. They didn't have paper. They were writing some things on clay. That's
right.
all. But
But
we
my
don't
point
have a
is,
story like the
right,
Egyptians. The Egyptians were. We know some things about the Minoans from the
right,
Egyptians because they have already. We have deciphered the language.
right, right, right.
And we know that they were waiting for the Minoans because they always brought very nice gifts, like pottery, and
Oh,
they discovered the purple color
oh, my
from the
favorite color.
shells of the. It's an animal in the sea, but you
Right,
needed
right,
to kill, to extract it from many pieces of this animal. It's
right.
like a shell,
But as
like
I'm saying, there's so much forgotten history
yeah,
that we don't know anything.
that's
So that's
true.
why when people say stuff, I'm like, we don't have a clue because you only know what's the last couple hundred, maybe 500,000 years if you're lucky. That's
And
real,
yeah, and not
but you
only
can't go.
forgotten that there were civilizations
Mhm.
which were more liberal, let's say, than we
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are now. I mean, uh, homosexuality in ancient Greece, it was
that's a
very common
given.
thing. It was a
Yeah,
very common thing. There was something like there was kind of a teacher that took a 16-year-old boy
all right,
to a village somewhere, or not even a village, to a house
all right.
somewhere in the woods or something, and he was teaching them
Mhm.
mathematics, sports,
Yep,
science, that what they know, philosophy, and also love.
yeah. And well, the
So
Olympics in Greek. the beginning of the Olympics, they would be the gladiators or whoever the participants would be naked, and only virgins could go, not married women or anything. So I thought that was an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
thing.
The ancient Greeks, they
So
were running.
well, I'm just saying, but even when I read, like, I read a book about Leonardo, and it was saying in his book, like, he had young lovers and da da da. So it's been around forever, and because the Puritans in the United Kingdom or whatever were like, no, 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 we can't have this, so we changed it. So it's been around from day one, but because some people are like, oh no, God said, okay, we'll put that aside. So now they don't do it. So that's my point. There's a lot
Yeah,
of forgotten
that's what I was trying
history.
to tell you.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
in
no, no,
some
no, I know
things,
that. But what I'm saying, there's a lot of,
society, they
yeah,
were more advanced. I mean,
yeah, I think
like
so. Yeah,
what you said about the gymnastics. It's a Greek
right,
word. It comes from the word gymnos, which means
right.
naked. The
Yeah,
gymnastic were naked,
yeah,
but of course, only men.
right. I was going to say, but that's my whole point. So we have so much forgotten history, the history that we have today, unless
We
you've lived
should
it.
learn. It's also
Mhm.
science. History is also science.
Right.
You can use history to manipulate,
Hmm.
like what Putin is doing. I think he is
Yeah.
manipulating,
Hmm.
and to his favor, right? He's
Yeah.
saying,
Oh, yeah.
"Oh, Ukraine wasn't a country; it was always
All right.
Russia." And,
Hmm.
well, anybody can say this, and he's
Right.
basing the whole story on some period,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
for some period, yeah, maybe the land that is Ukraine was Russian territory. I don't
Correct.
know. I don't know the
Well, if,
story
if he
that
wants to use
much.
that hypothesis, then the American Indians over here are going to be like, I want to be rude or anything, but we were here ahead of you, so it's all
By the way,
ours.
and it's also science. But you
Yeah.
remember that I was talking about? We had dedicated even a whole episode about this, about DNA results that I had.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
I
remember
got
that.
updated results because they
Okay.
said that it was 8 years that we're using the algorithm. We have more
All right.
data now on the base
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
people that are sending. So so my DNA now it's more normal because as I
Yeah.
thought, like 33% I'm Eastern European, which
Okay.
means Russia, Poland,
Sure.
Ukraine, those
You don't
stuff.
even know who to go to
One
war
third is
against.
there.
Yeah.
31% is Greek.
Okay.
So we it's also no, and 28 is Bulgarian,
Okay.
Balkan. 5% is so. In general, I'm like Polish, Greek, and Bulgarian. So and
Nice.
it looks more
Polish, Greek, Bulgarian. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
in the next World War, you don't even know
European,
what
all
side to
European.
take. You don't even know what side to go on next World War. You won't even know
Well,
where to
I
go.
don't care much about the DNA. I care more about. I mean, if the Ukrainians attacked Russia,
Right. Yeah, I'm for
go
that.
capture Moscow,
Yeah.
I would be against them.
For the Ukrainians or the Russians?
I would be against the Ukrainians if they try
Why?
to go and
Why?
you know.
Russia attacked them.
Yeah,
The
that's what
winner.
I'm saying. In case that it was the other way around,
Oh, well, if the
I wouldn't
Ukrainians
support
started the
them. I
war.
mean,
Oh, no, no,
yeah,
then I would be, yeah, no, no, no. Listen, this thing over the weekend when Putin did a bombing, I'm like, dude, what do you like? We're trying to go to peace here. So it's
no,
just,
he
listen,
doesn't want
it's,
peace.
I no kidding. It's just,
He
it's
doesn't want
unfortunately,
peace.
it's a game. It's been a game since day
It was
one.
always a game. It was
Right.
always
But
the war is always a game.
yeah, but
But
that's
we
why I
are in a
keep saying, oh, a new game.
new time. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
living a new era, which
New
is
game.
full of digital stuff,
Yeah.
and it looks different now. You
Yeah.
have
And AI is
interference
going to
from
take over and we're going to have overlords and that's it. Everyone's going to just have to listen to what their AI says or they'll be killed. I like it. I'm loving it. I'm excited. Can't wait. I can't wait to get my robot.
oh, it's coming soon.
I'm hoping because I get tired of having to drive places. I can just have the robot go get the milk. I don't want to go out and get milk. I'm like, go get the milk. So teach me how to play better golf.
It will do most of the things that you do. So
So, well, not yeah, but I wanted to I wanted to teach me get me a better golf swing, which that's Mr. Moon shoes.
he will teach you
That good
if
luck
you
with
are
that.
willing to learn.
I'm always willing to learn. I want to learn. I want to learn everything, but I
But
don't
I
like.
think people are not willing to learn because they can learn now. Even for example, I learned the medium that I work 3D, the 3D stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah.
book. Yeah, but I was
Okay.
every page,
Yeah, yeah.
there wasn't YouTube. Now you can learn the whole thing that I know
Hmm.
in one quarter of the time, or even less, because of the tutorials that there are
Yeah.
online.
See, I like reading a
They
book.
act like an online university now.
Yeah, but I
If
like
you
the
want to
book
be
better.
educated and you're
Yeah,
serious about it, you don't need. Okay, you need to go to university for other stuff, for social stuff, also, for all those things. But
swiping
the
right.
main knowledge and the education, you can get it from the internet now. If
That's
you
true.
know your stuff, which is really really the real stuff, because
Yeah.
as we said before about history, for example, you can take a narrative that it's not really true, but it fits your narrative, your story,
It's your narrative. Yeah,
and
mine is my narrative is
practically on.
I want to learn. That's mine. My
Yeah, I
narrative is I
like
just
to
want to
learn too. I like to learn
learn.
too.
But I
That's
want to
what I've been
learn
reading.
I want to learn everything. That's why we read. But I know, but I'm saying even the forgotten history to me is more fascinating than I don't like Big Bang. I could care less about it because you guess something else and people go, okay. So it's sort of like, I want to learn everything. And that to me is, that's why I think I'm very
That's
fascinated with
nice. That's nice to learn
The
everything.
Chinese and the Ottoman Empire and this. And I'm fascinated because when you read what they did and what they could do, or the Indian, the country of India, 5,000 years ago. I'm like fascinated by all of that. So
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot
yeah. The
too.
story.
There's a lot of forgotten history that people go, oh, they're myths, they're this, they're that. Now, sometimes I'm like, maybe, but sometimes, behind every little fable, there's some truth to it. So the question is, what's the truth?
Yeah, like
So
the
that becomes
myths.
this one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
myths are
that's
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
It's a fable. It's a story narrative, which is actually fiction, but it has deep inside,
I
some
mean,
truth, based on
yeah,
some truth,
yeah,
something that it cannot be told with language, with words, because
right,
words are actually poor. We say something, we say love, and everybody in his head, has a different opinion
right.
about it,
What
or
love
belief
is.
about what is love. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are words, and so words. Okay, they try to objectify also things, so that,
Mhm.
of course, when we say love, we know that it's not a cow. We're
Right.
speaking about
Well,
a feeling, yeah.
unless you
But
like
what
steak
this
and you
feeling
go,
really is,
yeah,
it's a subjective thing, because
yeah.
it's about feeling, and feelings are subjective.
I agree. The next week should be a fun show. Hopefully, the team will be back and we'll be able to
It's
we'll
always a
drill
fun
down
show.
into this. We always have good shows. So we can go on for another 5 hours, but we'll let the fans now go and do what they were going to do since it's a holiday here in America. So it was good to
You
see
have
you,
a
my
holiday
friend.
now?
Today's Memorial Day. Yeah, we're celebrating
Oh,
memorials. Yeah, yeah,
what
it's a big day.
memorial?
I don't know,
Memorial
whatever
for what?
Memorial Day. It's a Memorial Day in America. I don't. And I'm an American. I'm sad to say. I think it's not Independence Day. It's just Memorial Day. Basically, where you're thanking the people in uniform for their service today,
Well,
and for our
let's
fall
see.
and for the fallen ones, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think people who do any of it actually, because I think to them it's a day off from work, and they can watch the Indianapolis 500. That's what I think it is.
Okay, so it's a federal holiday observed the last Monday of May each year. So it's last Monday of this May.
Yeah, we know
Yes,
that. Got that part. What's
honors
in?
U.S. military personnel who
Yeah,
died in
that's right.
service to the country. So it's a
Yeah,
general. So
yeah,
it's
that's what I
about
said. So
the
we have
people, the
the people
military
in uniform.
personnel who died.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
people in uniform. But here's the funny thing: if you ask most of me, it took me a second to figure out what it was. But most of them, they're just like it's a day off and it's the Indianapolis 500. I think most Americans wouldn't have a clue that it's to honor the fallen soldiers.
So look, I just made a simple question to AI, which is technology, which is
Sure.
science.
Yeah.
And did he lie? No, he said the truth. Sometimes maybe they lie, because it also, when you open ChatGPT, it says down there that ChatGPT sometimes make mistakes. It's not
Yeah,
that
and I
they're
say
hiding it. Yeah.
when it makes mistakes, I ask it, is it a communist MF? And I tell it that I'm gonna have to take it out back and shoot it. And it goes, "You're so right. I'm sorry for my mistake." And then it corrects it. So I talk to AI like it's a person. So when it screws up, I tell it it's screwed up, and then it catches itself, and it'll be like, "Oh, you're right. I did." Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Then he
"Really?"
says,
Yeah, it's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to screw up." I'm like, "Well, then why did you do it?" I'm like, "You have the whole internet. In theory, most of the stuff out there is crap, but I'm like, if you have the whole internet, and why don't you fact check?" So now when I told it to do something, I'm like, I want you to fact check. I want the truth. I want it, blah, 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 blah. And then I read it, and usually 99% of the time, then it's right. And I don't have to like read it 26 times and go, why is this? Why is that? So yeah, so it's a whole different thing. So, but I'm waiting for AI to just take over the world. It'll be so much easier. I'm looking forward to it. I can
it
just
has
like,
taken already.
No, I mean, like, do the laundry, drive the car,
It's
fly the
doing the laundry.
plane.
I mean, we
Not
have
doing
the
my
machines
laundry.
already.
Now I have to put it
It'll
in
be
though.
an add-on to the things that we already,
Yeah.
and then it's
I'm
advancing.
waiting.
Everything's advancing.
Walk the
We have
dog
better
if I don't want to
TVs.
walk
We
the
have better.
dog. Yeah,
I have better processor. I have better
yeah,
motherboards,
that's
which
true.
was burned,
Yeah.
and it
I'm looking
costs
forward. I think it's
1,000.
going to be. I'm looking forward to the next 5 years if the planet makes it and we don't all kill each other. And if we do, then it is what it is. But I think it'll be cool to see where AI advances. I know the guy from Google was saying, like in 2 or 3 years, it'll be unrecognizable. And I'm like, we've been saying that for the last 3 or 4 years now because it really does get to
Well,
the
but the
next level,
truth
to the
is
next
that
level.
comparing to 2 years before, it is almost
Yeah,
unrecognizable. It's much better.
yeah. That's
Much
well,
better.
we'll
We
see.
couldn't do any videos. We couldn't do. Now
That's
there are,
true.
for example, I need to check it again, but because they are always advancing, that I could create, which is fantastic for me. I could create 3D models, which is
Yeah,
always pain in the ass. It's the worst part of 3D for me, and
yeah.
for most of the 3D artists. But there are
Right,
some which they like
right, right.
to create the model. I like to put the materials, the lights, the
Yeah,
animation, the whole setup and everything. But the model is
yeah.
it takes a
That's
lot of.
nice.
So now there are AIs that you can
Yeah,
give him an image, one image,
right.
and it creates a model from this. And
ChatGPT will do that.
in some case, well, ChatGPT cannot produce to me a file that is 3D that is I can
Ah,
open into my
okay.
application because it
Gotcha,
gives me
gotcha.
a 3D. I tested it once. I need to test more.
Right.
I gave him a chair to create a
Yeah.
chair from but it was a very
Picture.
nice, very very good
Right.
picture that you could see, but only
Right.
one thing, and he created a very good model. Yeah, I
That's
could use
yeah.
it. I could use it, but I did another test, and this one he didn't
Right.
create
Not
very
so
well.
good.
So it depends. It depends on the picture, but it will advance, and it will
Right,
have
right.
more data, more pictures with the chair that you want, or any kind of
Yeah.
furniture, or anything, or even you, like
Yeah.
it will create you.
First of all, I'm too pretty. It can't create it. This is
So
a one of a kind. I'm sorry. This
so
is a
it'll be
one
a
of a
pretty
kind.
sculpture, a pretty
Everybody's
3D.
sculpted. I'll be like David.
Uh,
I'll be at the Vatican naked, just all there for
where's
everyone to
David?
see.
Is he still
Our David,
traveling
David's
around?
I just said at the beginning of the show, he's laying on his yacht somewhere getting fanned by naked
Yeah,
Tahitian boys pouring oil
controlling the
all over his
world.
body. He's controlling something. Who knows? And Vicky's getting a sex change. She's going to become Victor. So who knows who's showing up next week? It's going to be a
Yeah.
great show. It's going to be fun, as it should.
It'll
So
be us for sure. So
it'll be us. We'll be here for sure, as always.
yeah,
So, fans, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the rebroadcast, thank you. If you're on the podcast, thank you. And we will see everybody next Monday live. And don't forget to subscribe and like. And God knows where we're going to go into Moon Shoes. Thank you for your
yeah,
comments, even though whatchamacallit, you have a crazy name. He's probably some scientist. So Moon Shoes will probably contact us after the show and he can come
yeah.
on
We
and
need more
mess us.
scientists.
We need more scientists to come on the show. Neil Tyson Grayson, or whatever the hell his name is, he'd come on. Maybe I'll learn his name if he comes on the show. Just saying.
Tyson deGrasse Nilsson, something
That's
like
the
this.
guy. Nissan? He's a car? All right, bring the car on. That'll be good too. It's like an AI thing. So, all right, my friend, it's good to see you, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We'll be back next week. Don't forget all our other shows. We've got some surprise guests coming up, I think, on the Habano Cigar Show, Lost Dollar Business Club, and a few others at the end of the week. So you don't want to miss that. We'll see everybody later. Cheers, everybody.
Bye bye.